In this edition of Fifth Gear, we're revealing the best new cars of this year in our first ever Fifth Gear Awards show.
In 2004, the motor industry produced no fewer than 120 new models.
And we've driven most of them to save you the bother.
We've debated, argued, shortlisted and voted. Now it's time to reveal the winners.
A lot of metal has been launched and we've divided it into 3 important categories. Tonight, you're going to find out what is our best small car.
Our second category is for best fast car. And seeing as Fifth Gear has better drivers than any other motoring programme on the planet, you'll not be surprised to learn choosing the winner has been a hot topic.
Which kind of leaves us with things like medium-sized hatchbacks, saloons, off-roaders, well, everything else really. Now, we've decided to think of these things as a single group, a category we're calling Best Family Car.
At the end of the show, we'll be looking at our 3 category winners and picking our overall Fifth Gear Car of the Year. Let battle commence.
First up, it's the best small car. It hasn't been a vintage year, but there have been some strong contenders, like this, the Renault Modus. It's the first small car to achieve a 5-star Euro NCAP rating.
But it's not just safety that makes the Modus stand out. It's a good looker too. There's lots of interesting design details that make it far funkier than many of its rivals. Prices start at a whisker over £9,000 for the 1.2-litre petrol, but we'd probably spend 10 grand for the 1.5 diesel that claims 60 to the gallon. On the road, it's quite grown up, giving a respectable ride and drive. Even though the cabin is tall, it's got quite a low centre of gravity, so it handles like a smaller car. It's the first new Renault to be built using the small car platform developed with Nissan and is a bit bigger than a Clio, but smaller than a Scenic.
It is quite narrow and it's only really a 4-seater, but if you did want 5 seats, you just pull this bench forwards, open up these 2 seats and pop this little fella down. But then you have to have very short legs and a tiny square bottom. It's definitely one of the more interesting small cars launched this year, and it ticks enough boxes to make it one of our favourites.
2 more small car contenders that caught our eye were these 2, the Smart 4.4 and the Mitsubishi Colt. But don't be confused by their absolutely different looks. It's all an illusion. They're actually built in the same factory off the same platform, which means they're all but the same car.
The Smart is the version for the style-conscious. Everything's been designed, both inside and out. But what else would you expect from a Smart? It's striking, simple and cool. Prices start at £8,000 and it has folding and sliding rear seats, but allowing adequate legroom for passengers does somewhat compromise luggage space.
Now, the Mitsubishi Colt might not have the visual impact of the Smart 4.4, but I reckon it's a more practical proposition. For a start, it's actually got a boot. You see this seating for 3 in the back here? Well, you can actually take that out and leave it at home if you've got some serious carrying to do.
Inside, it feels nice and light and airy and well made, and prices start at a not unreasonable £8,000. But it's still not our winner.
That honour is reserved for a car that's completely reinvigorated the small car sector, offering a bit of prestige, something a bit more aspirational. I drove it back in July and knew then that BMW were onto something. Our best small car for 2004 is this, the 1 Series.
It's a great car because of the perfect driving position, the slick, precise gear change and the perfectly weighted steering. The cabin oozes quality. Every control is sensibly placed and has an expensive car feel. The sharp creases and scoops of the exterior design will still look the part in 5 years' time. I know the base model costs £15,600, so it's not the cheapest small car out there, but it is the best. It brings a proper premium option to the small car world and passes the acid test. This is a car I actually want to own. The BMW 1 Series is our best small car of 2004.
We'll have more awards later when we'll reveal our best family car and our best fast car. But first, here's Tiff.
When was the last time you simply had to get up early to make the most of a day with a car? Well, it doesn't happen to me that often, but last week I couldn't resist the urge because I had something that promised to be very special to drive, and I couldn't resist making the most of every minute with it. A contender for our Best Fast Car Award, it is of course Ford's new GT. Designed to bring back happy memories of their GT40 blowing away Ferrari and all at Le Mans some 40 years ago. With the rights to that original model sold on long ago, they can't use the same name, but that doesn't stop them using the same jaw-dropping shape. Just 28 are being sold direct to the UK, and with a price tag of £120,000, they look set to make a tidy profit for any of the honoured few who might be tempted to sell them on. First impressions? Well, the cockpit is very wide and the steering wheel pleasantly small. I've got some nasty lumps in my back, courtesy of the ventilated holes in these retro-styled racing seats. And, like all the Ford GTs, it is, of course, left-hand drive. As for the driving experience, well, after the fantastic feel-good factor of seeing that emotive shape, it then becomes, well, something of a letdown. You see, brilliant though that engine may sound from the outside, in here, you can hardly hear it at all, and I wanted a throaty V8 pulsing away behind me. Whereas the only oral pleasure I get, I'm talking A-U-R-A-L, is wind noise and rattles and road noise coming through from underneath me. But even the steering, beautifully efficient and positive though it is too light. It's not got enough feedback for me. The gear change is incredibly efficient. The gears slip through with the greatest of ease. Whereas perhaps I wanted something chunkier. I wanted my GT to be a more brutal experience because it looks a brutal car. But perhaps I'm being too critical. After all, this Ford GT was designed not for racing, but for everyday use. It's not as pretty as a Ferrari or as graceful as an Aston, but like the original, the GT still manages to capture your heart in a different way. It's more masculine, more purposeful, more in your face. It's American. And with 550 horsepower on tap from its supercharged V8, it'll take you to 205 miles an hour, just 5 short of the original Le Mans races. There's a huge sense of occasion as you open the massive clamshell door and gaze at the big bank of dials and retro switchgear. Unfortunately, they didn't make space for a boot, so with continental cruising out of the question, we'd better get back to where its daddy made its name. On the smooth Silverstone racing circuit, I can finally appreciate the sounds of that engine behind me. No longer are my ears bombarded by nasty, ripping, thumping noises from the road beneath me. But now on a track, you can really wind it up, use full throttle, for the first real time in second gear. Feel that power surge the rear wheels and launch you out of the corners. But my problem really with this car is the characteristics of a supercharged engine. The thing about a supercharged engine, it just pushes all the time through the entire rev band, masses of torque. Whereas I want a bit more character in my engine. I love a normally aspirated engine which has a surge of power in the middle of the revs and then a peak of power right at the top end. Here, you've just got power, power, and more power. And that's the problem. I want more character. Mind you, the handling characteristics were a pleasant surprise, with a really positive turn-in and plenty of feel to allow for long, progressive slides. Now that I hadn't expected, nor did I reckon on strong, fade-free brakes. In the end, though, it's a bit too soft and safe for ultimate cornering speeds. But that's what this Ford GT seems to be all about, doing things as easily as possible. And perhaps that's its problem. I wanted the GT to be more of what the GT40 was, more muscular, more edgy, more of a real driver's car. Of course, I'd love one. It ticks most of the right boxes. It really does relive the dream. But if I had to choose where to spend my 120 grand, the Ford GT gets beaten by the very mark that the GT40 was created to beat. Ferrari with their new F430.
We've already decided that BMW's 1 Series is the best small car, and next up, it's the best family car.
Which, for our purposes, includes everything that isn't particularly little or especially fast.
But that didn't create as big a shortlist as you might think.
We've come up with 3 candidates.
The Peugeot 407 arrived in May, and we weren't sure about that gobby front grille, but it's grown on us. The rakish design means there isn't much boot space or rear headroom, but there is a spacious and luxurious feel up front. Cleverly modified suspension allows both a supple ride and responsive handling. When driving round country lanes, it effortlessly tracks round corners while still managing to level out the potholes. It's a bold effort and a worthy contender, but it ain't our winner.
2 weeks ago, I drove the all-new Discovery and was immediately impressed. With this car, they've created possibly the best all-round off-roader in the world. There's a box of tricks that selects the perfect settings for 5 different driving conditions. The interior is splendid and has 7 forward-facing seats, so you'll be able to take the extended family further up the Khyber Pass than ever before. It's a magnificent brute, and we gave it serious consideration.
But it weighs 2.7 tonnes, would make dents in your driveway, and whichever fuel you choose, it drinks it. So we've decided the award should go to the latest version of Britain's most popular car. The best family car of 2004 is the new Ford Focus.
Back in 1998, Ford blew the doors off the opposition with their sharp-edged original, but now they've come up with a model that's bigger and even better value. The Focus always handled brilliantly, and now with an improved gearbox and changeable steering modes, it's cranked up the fun-to-drive credentials even higher. The looks have come in for some criticism, but those new bulbous curves are designed to be friendlier if you hit wayward pedestrians. While inside, the revamp makes the rear more spacious and the cabin more airy.
Everything works well. The seating position is just right, the gear change is smooth and slick, the car's very easy to drive. The steering wheel, you've got 3 different modes. You've got comfort, standard and sports in terms of the weighting. That can be selected on the dashboard menu.
And the answer to the big question, is it as good to drive as the old one, is a resounding yes. In fact, it's better. The chassis is sharper whilst being more compliant over bumpy roads, the cabin is quieter, and the new electronic power steering gives you all the feedback you need. But Ford haven't only made their bestseller better to drive, they've also managed to improve on some of the old car's weak points.
The old Focus was a visual catastrophe inside with its cheap plastics and oddball layout. I'm pleased to say the new version uses a more conventional design, better quality materials and has a much more luxurious feel.
Nothing feels clumsy anymore. In fact, it's now easily on a par with, say, the new Golf.
Ford has made the Focus's class-leading qualities even better, which is why it's our best family car for 2004.
And now for the one we've all been waiting for, as we find out which of the quick stuff has enough of the right stuff.
It's been an amazing year for new supercars. But if we take our heads out of the clouds, there are just 3 contenders for our award.
One car that was loved by everyone was the Aston Martin DB9. It is very beautiful, with one of the best interiors of any car on sale. And audible pleasure is just a crystal button away.
The DB9 is perfect proof that Aston Martin has gone all high-tech, so no more sledgehammer engines and stodgy handling. With a light aluminium chassis, the 6-litre V12 can take it to 60 in 4.7 seconds before topping out at 186 miles an hour. The handling is excellent and the paddle-shift gearbox is among the best. Even Tiff, who normally gets very disappointed by Astons, was bowled over.
With that big V12 growling away under the bonnet, you feel like you've got enough power to launch the Queen Mary 2. Though it's actually got a slightly detuned version of the Vanquish's V12, producing 450 horsepower. The steering is a little bit on the light side, but then that makes it feel like quite a light, nimble car in the corners. And it certainly handles like a light, nimble car in the corners. And it's only really when you get heavily onto the brakes do you realise that you're in quite a heavy car. But when all things are considered, we reckon this Aston Martin DB9 isn't just the best GT car built in Britain. It's the best GT car in the world.
So that's it then, Tiff, the winner of the 5th Gear Fast Car Award, all revved up and ready to go?
Well, no. You see, we're looking at the best car over the entire year, and I drove the Aston in July.
And?
And in November, along came this. Ferrari's all-new F430. A car that outdoes the Aston in handling, balance and performance, if not in grand touring comfort. It's the replacement for their best-selling 360 Modena and boasts a new 4.3-litre V8 engine which can even out-accelerate an F40. But what makes this car a revelation is this magic button on the steering wheel that lets you vary the traction control and electronic differential. In race mode, it's simply awesome.
In the old 360, a punter could get within about 10 seconds of a Ferrari test driver's lap time. But in the F430, a punter using race mode could get within 5 seconds. You can really get after it safe in the knowledge the gadgets will save you before you run out of talent.
I wasn't a big fan of the 360. I just didn't think it was complete. This is almost perfect. Tell you what, I could stay here all day long. How much fuel we got? But the Ferrari costs around £110,000 and it's being beaten by something that will deliver similar driving excitement, but is 50 grand less. The winner is, of course, the brand new Porsche 911 Carrera S.
For over 40 years, Porsche have been gently improving their classic 911, and this, their 6th version, is the best of the lot. The looks are familiar, but all new body panels refine the aerodynamics. There's an all-new 6-speed gearbox and active suspension that can be lowered by 10mm to increase the sporting feel, and They've even sorted out the rear wheel grip.
Oh, bit of understeer there. No, I hadn't expected that. The grip at the back of this Porsche seems to be amazing. Hardly any need for stability control at all if there's that sort of grip available in these greasy conditions. Again, the back seems to be planted even when I'm on full throttle. But doubtless the tight twists of Club Corner, which is very tight. Surely the back's gonna kick a bit here. Oh, no, it grips well. Then the other way. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, the back went out, but not for long. Very easily controllable. Unbelievable that this car that was so famed for its dodgy rear end can be driven so hard in such greasy conditions. The gearbox, a real delight out on the track. Slicking up to 5th gear now. And pulling 127, 8, 930 miles an hour. Well, a little back end just went, but then again it goes back into understeer. This car is incredibly stable for one with such a wild reputation.
At 65 grand, the Porsche 911 is just that bit more attainable compared to the Aston or Ferrari and manages 99% of the thrill for 60% of the cost. It has to be our top fast car.
And now, having already given away 3 awards, it's time to announce 5th Gear's overall Car of the Year.
The best small car, BMW's 1 Series, looks great, handles superbly and has that real prestige car feel. But the problem is it's rear drive. It means there's lots of mechanical gubbins that has to get to the back. That compromises interior space in the rear and means that it's just not quite practical enough to make it Car of the Year overall.
The Focus is a great improvement on an already great car. It's got more space, it's more fun to drive, it's better kitted out, and it's fantastic value for money. It's just that a Car of the Year should be desirable, and buying one of these won't get the neighbours' curtains twitching.
Which is why our Car of the Year has to be the Porsche.
Whoa. I think you'll find, honey, that's too expensive.
Honey, I think you'll find it's half the price of a Ferrari.
Not everyone does those voiceovers that you do lots of to earn the pennies, so.
And I would say, guys, that our Car of the Year has to be practical, good-looking and good value for money.
Just like me.
Hey, Jason.
Which is why our winner looks fantastic, can comfortably carry 4 people with their luggage, and can be bought for just under 20 grand. It's a driver's car with 200 horsepower to play with. The 5th Gear Car of the Year is a car with a legendary pedigree. It's the new Volkswagen Golf GTI. What more could you want? All aboard!
Time for the racing drivers to go have a play.
You got a misspent youth, Noodle.
This manual gear change is pretty slick, but Jason, you tested that DSG thing.
Probably the best gearbox I've ever driven. Really slick, does exactly what you want, but would you believe it does 0 to 60 quicker than a manual?
Victor, are you a GTI fan?
I've always loved them. I think the first one was just very, very pretty, handled really well, was, you know, pretty fast. I love the second one, so much so that I own one. Ooh. And then I think it all went a bit downhill, a bit bulbous, a bit sort of heavy, really. But this one, on the money.
So we're all agreed.
This new Golf GTI is
5th Gear's Car of the Year.